you now to our semi-finals for the 2010 IBS School Debate Competitions amongst the 6 schools in Ley Morobe Province. Okay, the first 2 schools are for the semi-finals, Bumayong Secondary School. Participants are Lynette Paul, Vanessa Sogiri, Azaria Kavi, and Philip Iko. Thank you, Bumayong. The Lane Secondary School team participants are Christopher Miviri, Robert Ari Jr., Ruben Tangabi, and Daphne Hanget. Please make welcome Lane Secondary School. The topic of debate for this morning is human resource development is the key to achieving Vision 2050. Bumayong Secondary School is going for the topic and Lay Secondary School is going against the topic. Now I'd like to call upon the first speaker of the affirmative team, Bumayong Secondary.
Thank you, Chair Lady. Good morning once again, fellow students, educators, timekeepers, and audience. As you have all heard from our Chair Lady, we'll be debating on the topic, human resource is the key to achieve Vision 2050. As the affirmative team, we are strongly going for the topic and saying that human resource development is the key to achieving Vision 2050. But before I proceed on with the introduction of my fellow colleagues, I will first of all clearly define to you the topic so you could understand why we are arguing for the topic. We are going for the topic. Human resource, first of all, refers to manpower. When I say manpower, I refer to manpower as the number of people working or available for work. Human resource development means we develop our manpower by educating our people, equipping them with the relevant skills and attitudes, giving them on-the-job training and work experiences. The word key means is the most important thing to do. So from these definitions, what can we understand now from this topic using these definitions? Applying these definitions, our topic for this debate can be rephrased like this. Of all the things we want to do to help us achieve Vision 2050, improving the education, the skills, the training of our human resource, and equipping it with the relevant work experiences and attitudes would be the most important thing to do. If we do not attend to these key areas, we will not really achieve Vision 2050. So from that, I will move on with the introduction of my fellow colleagues. I, the first speaker, Azure Kavi, will be arguing that we need to develop our human resource so that our developed human resources can be used to develop and manage the non-human resources to achieve Vision 2050. My second speaker, Lynette Paul, will be arguing that we need to develop our human resources in order to implement different reforms which are made to help us achieve Vision 2050. Our third speaker, Vanessa Sogeri, will be arguing that in our increasingly highly competitive world, these days, human resource development is the key to achieving Vision 2050. And last but not the least, our final speaker, Philip Ika, will be summarizing on our topics. Okay, back to my argument. I, as you have already heard, will be arguing that we need to develop our human resources so that our developed human resources can be used to develop and manage the non-human resources to achieve Vision 20. In grade 12 economics, for those who are in grade 12 currently and are taking economics, you will have a fair idea on what I'm saying. We learned that Singapore is only a small island country with no natural resources. So what did their leaders do to bring about this state of development in their country? They developed their human resources by sending their people overseas to study and get their degrees in overseas educational institutes. Because of this massive investment in human resource, many were educated, and skilled Singaporeans were able to return to their home and develop Singapore. So comparatively speaking, there may be many things we can do to achieve Vision 2050, like investing more in our renewable resources, for example, fishing, tourism, and others that you can name. But the key one from Singapore's development experience is the human resource development. That is why we, the affirmative, are strongly arguing that human resource is the key to achieving Vision 2050. Before I conclude, I just like to leave with you two examples. If you look at the current LNG project that is taking place in our country, the LNG project will be employing about 12,000 to 50,000 employees to achieve their aim and goals. But the key thing here is the human resource development. Without these human beings, they won't be able to achieve what they won't be able to achieve their aims and goals. Therefore, we, the affirmative, strongly believe and say that human resource is the key to achieving Vision 2050. Thank you.
Thank you. That was the first speaker of the affirmative side. Now I'd like to call upon the first speaker of Lay Secondary School.
Good morning, Chair Lady, ladies and gentlemen. I, as the first speaker of the negative team, we will be going against the topic that human resource development is the key to achieving Vision 2050. First of all, I will be presenting our team's line. I shall then proceed on to outline briefly what me and my team members shall be arguing about. Okay, first of all, I would like to say that we as the opposition, we would like to make it clear that we agree with the government side that the definition put forth is correct. In saying that, I now would like to proceed on to outlining briefly what my fellow members are going to say. Okay, the first speaker is I will be talking about the economic aspect of this human resource development. The second speaker will be talking about the economic and social aspect of it. The third speaker will be talking about the social and political aspect of it. And the final speaker will be reaffirming our topic and shall sum up and conclude. Okay, before I proceed, I would like to rebut on what the first speaker of the opposition said. Now, she said that by sending our work, by investing in overseas, by sending our workforce overseas, and then they go overseas and they get the knowledge from there and they come back to our country and develop it. What is the guarantee from the government side that these people, once they go out and they see the lifestyle that the other country is living in, what is the guarantee that they will come back and develop PNG? That's one. And about the LNG project, she said that they will be employing about 15,000 jobs will be made, people will be employed. But that is only in the initial stage, initial construction phase. Now, as ExxonMobil has said, for the long-term employment, the company is going to employ 1,250 employment. So that's a big reduction from 15,000 down to 1,250, ain't it? True? I shall now proceed on with my arguments. Firstly, developing human resources is a costly exercise. It's an expensive task. Huh? By bringing foreigners in to develop our existing human resources, we can see that this is a big cost package that comes with it. For outsiders to come in, they have to see that what is the guarantee that the government is going to pay them? The government is going to pay them, or the company or the organization that gets them into the country is going to pay them what they earn back at their homes, back at their countries. A good example is this. A couple of lecturers from United States were invited to come into Papua New Guinea. Now, in doing so, they sat down and they saw that the pay package for the lecturers here in PNG was maybe just this much of theirs. So as you can see, it's a big cost factor for the government or the organization. Proceeding on to my next argument is that when they send people overseas, we can see that the effect that this causes is brain drain. A good example, we would see that if there is a student body, a school is made up of student body and teaching staff. Now, if you send out the teaching staff out to a place where the conditions there are much more better than here, then what guarantee is given that they are going to come back? To conclude, developing human resources is a very costly exercise as it leads to brain drain. And in recommendation, we, the affirmative, believe that the government organizations should put more emphasis on service delivery and wealth creation.
Thank you. That was the first speaker of the opposing team. Now I'd like to call upon the second speaker of Bumayon Secondary, the affirmative team.
Thank you, judges, the timekeepers in the audience. As mentioned by the first speaker, I'm the second speaker of the affirmative theme. And I will argue that we need to develop our human resource in order to implement different reforms which are made by our government to achieve our vision, which is Vision 2050. Okay, before I proceed on with my points, I would like to rebut on what some statements the first speaker of the opposition side has said. You were talking about the expatriates coming into our country. By looking at our payments and all those, you are saying that we cannot pay them very well. That's why they cannot come into our country. Am I right? Okay, I want to tell you that we are talking about developing human resource in our own country in order to achieve this Vision 2050. And you also mentioned about the teachers. Teachers, like, because they are not paid very well in other secondary schools or such thing, they want to move into other sectors to work in order to get huge amount of payments. If this is happening, then this is reducing our teachers. And teachers, they have human resources and resources to develop and to produce more of the future productive, well-developed and well-skilled human resource of PNG. You see, am I right with that? So with that, I will not say anything further. I will proceed on with my points. Firstly, as mentioned by the first speaker, we strongly believe that our human resource need to be developed because it is the key to achieving Vision 2050. We need to develop our human resource in order to implement different reforms which have been made by the government to help us achieve our vision. What are some of the changes? What are some of the reforms that will require us to develop, require well-developed and skilled human resource? Firstly, according to Vision 2050, the change that requires well-developed human resource is the decentralization of certain powers and services, right to provincial, district, and local level governments, which means that there has to be fair distribution among the, there needs to be people, there needs to be human resource to distribute the services well to the provincial, the district, and the local level governments. Now we have the provincial governments, the district, and the local level government, and they require plenty of well-trained and manpower to identify, to cause them to develop, and to cause them to document development projects. We need plenty of trained financial managers and administration. From this, it is clear that this reform, which are aim of achieving Vision 2050, cannot be effectively implemented until we improve our human resource. That is why we affirmative theme are arguing that developing human resource is the key to achieving Vision 2050. The second point I'm going to talk about is the second change that will require well-developed human resource is the reform of education system. Now the government is implementing this universal basic education. What does universal basic education mean? Okay, what does universal basic education requires? It requires that all citizens of country must be given basic education up to the grade of 12 level. This requires that we need to train more people to become teachers in primary, secondary, and tertiary levels. So with that, from this, it is clear that we must develop our manpower as the key to achieving Vision 2050. Therefore, with that, with the affirmative theme, we strongly and we firmly believe that if we increase the human resource in PNG, we will achieve our vision, which is Vision 2050. Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was the second speaker of the affirmative side. Now I'd like to call upon the second speaker of lay secondary.
Good day, Mistress of Ceremony, and ladies and gentlemen, Papua New Guinea. I, the second speaker of the negative side, will be talking about unskilled workforce. Now, before I proceed on, I would like to rebut and clarify about expatriates. Now, expatriates, when they come into this country, their pay package is more than the people who are working here. Now, if it is a costly exercise, if they are to come into the country and their pay package is equivalent to 3 times a working class person here. Now, this is cost factor, am I right? Firstly, my definition of human development. Now, human deals with human. In regards to human development, they are the ability and skills that can be used to utilize and achieve something. Now, when we talk about human resource, this comes in line with leadership. This comes in line with leadership. Now, leadership is a human resource. A person that is well educated, has skills, and these skills is used in the workforce. Now, this is resource. Now, this leadership can influence some other people. Now, these people are human resource which they acquire some other skills. Now leadership is very important in terms of human resource. Now here are 3 concepts in Vision 2050 about leadership. Political leadership. Political leadership, in terms of political leadership, to achieve political transformation and system change, as envisioned under Vision 2050, politician leaders have to be critical. Do we have critical politician leaders today? I don't think so. The success of the vision depends significantly on the code of politician leadership and commitment to implementation. Autobiographic leadership. The effect and efficient implementation on Visions 2050 will demand honesty. Do we have honest leaders? Innovation, proactive, and inspiring leadership for all heads of department. Only a handful are inspiring, am I right? And most of all are unproductive. Now, based on the core value and quality, productivity, discipline, accountability, and professionalism enables and implement the vision. Now, do you know that we have inadequate leaders leading this country today? That's for you to decide. Now, the private sector, leadership. Institutions in private sectors as development partners must be socially and ethically responsible in the private sector in regards to human resource. Do our private sectors have moral values? Stated in Vision 20, now this is in terms of leadership. Now in terms of Vision 20, human resource, it states that, stated in Vision 2050, in order to achieve such a vision, stated in the success of Vision 2050, in conjugating upon the competition of the country workforce, we are well-educated, healthy, appropriately skilled, and honest workforce that is committed, proactive, and innovative is the kind, and I repeat, is the kind of workforce required to implement this vision. As you have seen, human resource development is not the key to Vision 2050. When our human resource ourselves are not critical, are not honest, and not productive, not accountable, we are inadequate leaders because of unskillful workforce. Now to conclude, I believe that I have convinced you all that human resource is not the key to Vision 2050. My recommendations are, human resource is just one part of the vision. Now get this straight. The vision is designed by 7 pillars. And these 7 pillars all work together to make this vision. Now human resource is just one. Let me make an example. A soccer team makes up of 11 players. Now human resource is just 2. How can 2 players play against these 11 players and achieve their goal? Thank you.
Team. Now I'd like to call upon the 3rd speaker of Bumayon Secondary.
Thank you, Chair Lady, judges, timekeepers, and the audience. Firstly, I am the 3rd speaker as mentioned by my first speaker, and I would like to first rebut on what the 2nd speaker of the opposition has said. He said that one part of our workforce is the unskilled workforce. Now, we, the government, are saying that this unskilled workforce, we are trying to help them to develop our country through investing in education. That is one point that we must get clear. We are trying to invest these people so that they help our economy grow and achieve economic growth. Get this straight. Secondly, they are talking about expatriates. They have more packages than us. That is because that we are not developing our human resource. Get it right. We are not developing our human resource. That is why we are getting expatriates from outside to come and develop our country. Am I right?
We need our own people to develop our human resources and other sectors of the economy. Secondly, he talked about leaders. Okay, these leaders, our people right now, we are going to be the leaders of the future, right? So, when we are trying to become good leaders, we invest to education, and when we invest to education, we learn good attitudes like respect, accountability, all this, so that we will develop our resources in our Papua New Guinea to develop our economic growth. And also he said there are other sectors of the economy that can help our people to achieve economic growth. No, that is wrong. Correctly, it is irrelevant, because not dogs and pigs will come and take use of these resources to make us achieve economic growth. No, we are the ones who are going to come and get these resources and make good, proper use of them. Get it straight, not pigs and dogs. We, the human resource of Papua New Guinea. Thank you. With that, I would like to continue on to my points. My point of argument will be that in an increasing, highly competitive world these days, human resource is the key to achieving Vision 2050. What do I mean when I say what do I mean when I say highly competitive environment? Like, when trade restrictions are removed, example, tariffs are reduced on imports. So when there are many cheap imports coming into our country to compete strongly with our locally grown. Therefore, those who are smart will develop our human resource to compete well and maintain a competitive edge in international trade, international business, international finance, etc. And finally, therefore, we strongly believe that human resource is the key to achieving Vision 2050. So when we develop our human resources, we do this in this highly competitive environment. The right thing for us to do is to develop our human resources, like what my first speaker said. Singapore did. Now they are well off. Their human resources are much better than us, Papua New Guinea. So what are we learning from this? We are learning that from investment to education, we too, Papua New Guinea, can also develop our human resources to be like what Singapore is right now. And secondly, if we develop our human resources, they will be smart by year 2050. And and smart in 2050 means being innovative, meaning creating new products, new methods, new systems, procedures, etc. So they become smart in coming up with discoveries of new ideas, so that new ideas can make us competitive in this highly competitive 21st century. So that when they become smart in coming up with new methods, new techniques, new processes that are efficient and are cheap and will enable us to become competitive and give us that competitive edge in this highly competitive world, economic environment. It is along this chain or line of reasoning that we in the affirmative team strongly believe that human resource development is necessary. I repeat, is necessary to give us the competitive edge in this highly competitive economic world. Therefore, we maintain that human resource, I repeat, human resource is the key to achieving Vision 2050. Thank you. I strongly believe that I have convinced you that not pigs and dogs will come and utilize our resources. No, we, the human resource of Papua New Guinea, are going to be the ones that are going to develop our other resources. So thank you all.
Thank you, third speaker of the affirmative team. Now I'd like to call upon the third speaker of Lay Secondary School.
Thank you, Chair Lady, ladies and gentlemen. Before I go on to make my point, I would like to reaffirm that human development is not the key to achieving Vision 2050. And I'll be speaking on the social aspects. My point: human development is not the key to achieving Vision 2050. Number one point is because of the Melanesian attitude that we have. PNG ways, that's what you call. even though this ways a Melanesian attitude, I would define Melanesian attitude is the traditional way, cultural way of life that is inherited and practiced by all Melanesians. But I would like to tell you that these are our way of life, but there are threats that this Melanesian way presents to us, and it can add to us not seeing achieving Vision 2050. Now, the Vision 2050 is all about developing and improving people's life so that by 2050, we can become a smart, wise, fair, healthy, and happy society. However, human resource development is not the key to achieve Vision 2050. As long as you have the Melanesian attitude, human resource development will be a waste of time. People must be educated to change their attitude in order for Vision 2050 to become a reality. And some Melanesian attitudes are, we know so well of this nepotism system, one-talk system. There is misuse in offices right now. These people which are trained and skilled, they are going into the office and they're misusing public funds and properties. And because of this nepotism system, this is not adding to us achieving Vision 2050. We have another attitude, PNG time. PNG time. We have a workforce. PNG time simply means that when we set a time, when we appoint a time, then for even an appointment to occur, then somebody comes late or eventually the event is deferred. That's PNG time. And we are living in this society where PNG time is effective in our everyday lives. Well, PNG time can be a factor that will head to us not achieving this Vision 2050, because the workforce, when they go and work, many times they don't turn up on time. As a result, they get terminated, and this adds to the reduction in the workforce. Our PNG people, we are short-sighted. We aren't visionaries. We think on what is tomorrow. We don't look forward. That's why I would say and I would stress that human resource development is not the key to achieving Vision 2050. Second point, corruption. Corruption simply means the departure from the original or what is pure or correct. Papua New Guinea, according to the Transparency Index, is ranked 29 as the most corrupt nations out of the 180 countries that make up the United Nations. With human resource development, bulk of the population will be trained and become skillful. But with a system that is in place, with high level of corruption, many will go into the system and they will just blend into the system. They will blend into the system. For example, you take a pure water and you just place it into a cordial, a container cordial. What will you see? You will see that you will not see the pure water anymore. It will mix with the cordial, and the only thing that you will see is the cordial. That's what is happening. Corruption. When people are trained and when they go into the workforce, they just blend into the system and they tag along with the system. And as a result, we have corruption, and that's not adding to us achieving Vision 2050. I would like to rebut. I forgot to rebut. I would like to rebut on what the government side said. It said that we need the human resource so that we can develop and train Papua New Guinean citizens so that they can become productive. Well, let me tell you something. Well, let me get this straight. Education with human resource development only informs the people. But you need spiritual development to build character. And character, we need character, friends. To build character. And character with positive mindsets and moral ethics value will get us a long way. Thank you.
was the third speaker of the opposing team. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the 2010 IBS School Debate Competition. Amongst the 6 lay schools, we have Bumayong Secondary School and Lay Secondary School going for the topic, Human Resource Development is the Key to Achieving Vision 2050. Now I'd like to call upon the final speaker of the affirmative team, Bumayong Secondary.
Thank you, Chair Lady, the timekeeper, members of the judiciary, the adjudicators, and the cheerful audience. Good morning to you all. If you have been following through the topic itself, if you have been following through, starting from our first speaker to the third, I would like to emphasize or reiterate to put all the things in order so that you understand why we say that human resource development is the key to achieving Vision 2050. I would like to rebut on some of the points raised by the negative team. People of Papua New Guinea, ladies and gentlemen, understand this, that when we are talking about human resource development, we are not saying that we are going to send them overseas. Singapore is just a classical example. Singapore is just a classical example of what they have done, that they have spent a lot on human resource development, and that is why Singapore is now a well-developed nation. I will be speaking and summarizing our points, but firstly, my point I will be speaking on mindset, the mindset. We need to develop our nation. We need to develop our human resource to change their mindsets in order to achieve Vision 2050. What do I mean by mindset? Mindset is the way people think. The way our people think may be conducive, may not be conducive to the achievement of Vision 2050. What are some of the examples of mindsets of our people? We tend to depend so much on political handouts. That is number one. What if it did not eventuate? How do we expect to achieve Vision 2050? We need to develop our human resource. We need to develop our human resource to be self-reliant, to be proactive. And that is the way we should go in achieving Vision 2050. Another example of the mindset is that we males, we seem to see that we are dominant in everything we do. Males think that we are important. We are so muscular. Yes, we are so muscular. That's how we think. That's one of our mindset. And there is no practice of gender equality. The other thing is, another example of the mindset is the one-talk system that is stated by the opposing team. One-talk system, nepotism, corruption, and all these things. That is the mindset that we have. Therefore, we would like to instill education into this, proper education into this human resource, so that they will shift away from this mindset. They will have to shift away from this mindset in order for us to achieve Vision 2050. People of Papua New Guinea, understand this. Follow me through the line. we see that there is one talk system and we don't have equitable distribution of our scarce resources. We see that there is one talk system and it prevents right manpower to achieve Vision 2050. This takes sides in disputes. How can we become a happy society that Vision 2050 highlights? How can we achieve? Through this mindset. Therefore, we have to emphasize more. We have to emphasize more on human resource development. We hope that we have this OBE system coming in. We have the PD that is taught in grade 9, 10, and now into grade 11 and 12. All of you are PD students too, sitting here. And there are some things that the PD curriculum itself highlights on learning students about attitudes, good moral, ethics, everything like this, so that we shift from that mindset of thinking more about corruption, about one-talk system. We shift over through this human resource development. We have to spend a lot on human resource development. We have to spend a lot on human resource, develop them, so that they will carry out Vision 2050. I repeat, there is no other thing that will carry out Vision 2050. It is the minds of the people, our leaders, our academics, our professional people who have formulated this Vision 2050. And there is no other people who are going to carry out this Vision 2050. It is you and I. Am I right? It is you and I that will carry out Vision 2050. Some of the development strategies, some of the plans put in place through this Vision 2050 need human resource to carry out so that we achieve this vision. What we have in mind, what our leaders have in mind, what our politicians, what our leaders who are God-fearing, who want us to achieve by 2050. Let me give you an example of the other mindset that we have, is the carelessness. And it goes against the concept of the attitude excellence that is highlighted in the Vision 2050. We could not achieve the objective of being a healthy society if we do away with our carelessness. Therefore, we have to shift from that mindset of carelessness by emphasizing more on human resource. We have to spend a lot on our human resource so that we'll achieve Vision 2050. There's no other people out there is no other expatriates. They are not going to, these expatriates are not going to come out and then carry Vision 2050 forward. It is you and I. We are the human resource. Are we, ladies and gentlemen, Papua New Guinea, are we the human resource of this nation? Are we the human resource of this nation? Yes, of course, we are the human resource of this nation. Therefore, we have to emphasize more. We have to spend a lot on producing, okay? We have to spend a lot in producing human resource for this nation so that we'll achieve Vision 2050. There we'll see that we are smart, we are wise, we are fair, we are healthy. Ladies and gentlemen, people of Papua New Guinea, if you have followed me through, let me put a final touch. From this, we can see the argument of the affirmative that we need to develop our human resource in order to change their mindsets, so that we are able to achieve Vision 2050. Let me conclude. To reiterate, ladies and gentlemen, in a professional way, and in a diplomatic way, reiterate and re-emphasize the examples and points raised by our first, second, and third speakers. An example of Singapore's development experience is what we can see, and then we can learn from that, and we emphasize more on developing our human resource to achieve Vision 2050. We are rich in our resources, but one thing is that we lack entrepreneurial skill. That is why we have to emphasize more. Even we have our resource, we are lack in entrepreneurial skill. Therefore, we have to emphasize on this as human resource development. We develop them so that they will utilize all our resources for the benefit of the people of Papua New Guinea. As more projects development taking place as a short-term plans towards achieving Vision 2050, we need human resource to carry forward this vision. And we need human resource to manage all projects, to formulate everything, to carry out these projects, to make sure this project is achieved, to make sure that the people of Papua New Guinea, we all benefit from the resources that we have. Therefore, we are firmly saying that developing our human resource is the key to achieving Vision 2050. Thank you.
Thank you. That was the final speaker of the Bumayon Secondary School. Now I'd like to call upon the final speaker of Lay Secondary School.
Chairlady, ladies and gentlemen, as the final speaker of the opposition side, I strongly go against and say that human resource is not the only key and is not the key to achieve Vision 2050. Firstly, before I summarize what my other fellow members have said, I'd like to rebut on what the affirmative side has said. Human development or human resource. You talked about manpower, educating. How can we educate when we don't have skilled people to educate those people? And you talk about sending people overseas to get knowledge and stuff. This leads to brain drain. Most of the Papua New Guineans that are going overseas, they're not coming back. Can't you see? And let's just leave LNG out of this. For development to take place, we need better qualified, skillful people. Ask yourself, you want people out on the streets to come in and do the work for you? Let's take these students, for example. Do you want teachers, they just go, the education department just go and get people on the streets of Eriku to come into the grade 12 classrooms and teach you people? No, this will lead you back into the village. We want skillful, educated, qualified people. And the second speaker also said we implement and talk about reforms and all those. We are not degrading the teachers. We are talking about qualification here. We need people to come and make our teachers be qualified. Who is going to teach our people if you don't want that? Our grandfathers. We are not talking about governments to here. We are talking about humans. Human resource can only be achieved if we have everything that we are talking about. Universal basic education. How many grade 12 students are on the street now? Does our institutions cater for all the grade 12s now? There's only limited spaces. Out of all the grade 12 students we are sitting for our examinations this coming October, there's only 3,000 to 5,000 spaces. Where are the rest gonna go? Let's talk real here. Let's talk about Papua New Guinea and not Singapore. We are trying. Some said we are trying to be, to go up there. But how and when? We have been, let's come back, when? When you and I, when the time when you and I are 6 feet underground? Think again. Leaders, we are leaders. Talking about corruption, we will stop that. But to tell you guys, the truth is corruption is already in the system. And when you have something in the system, it cannot be removed completely, but it can be minimized. You talk about imports, and Papua New Guineans nowadays, they don't want to work for other people. You work for yourselves. Can anyone volunteer to go and work freely for other people? No, you want money. Money talks, that's what we say. We want highly competitive people too. And just look at this. What is Papua New Guinea rated in development with the rest of the world? Let's compare Papua New Guinea in development side with the rest of the world. Let's not just compare us with ourselves. And we are not dogs and pigs here. We should be talking about the 7 pillars that will help us to achieve that vision. And mind you, human resource is only one of the 7 pillars. We need the other 6 pillars also to make this vision be achieved. And to get this right, human resource, it is one of them, and it is not the only way. But we can always use all the other 6 pillars to go with that in order to achieve Vision 2050. Now let me summarize what my other speakers have said. As you all know, human resource, it's not the only key to to have this vision achieved, as it is a costly exercise. And let's be real, Papua New Guinea doesn't have the money. We have been borrowing and we are still borrowing. We need skillful people. We don't need unskilled people. You talk about the LNG. We need skillful people. At least they get some sort of training to go and work there. You don't need people from the streets to go and work there. How can development take place? We are talking about quality here and not quantity. Corruption, we have been talking about it for the last 2 days. So you guys know what that is. Our government, I don't need to stress on that. You already know, and the results, you are seeing it now. So, in conclusion, human resource development is there to recruit, to train, or to retrain in order for progress to take place. But there's always a but in there. Just look at us. How far have we, the Papua New Guineans, how far has our country moved in our human resource? We are full of nepotism, too much one-talk system, too much Melanesian way, too much all these negatives, too much attitude problems. One-talk system. Now when you go to the government, you find jobs, it's not what you know, but it's whom you know. Am I right? I am, of course. This leads to a great increase in corruption rate. As mentioned by my other speaker, Papua New Guinea, let me say this, we are still developing. We are trying to develop, but yet we are rated one of the top in the corruption rate. Too bad for us. We also don't have the better, skillful, qualified people to do the training. Most of our intellectual people, most of them are outside. You take the pilot of Emirates now. He's one of the Papua New Guineans. Why can't he come and fly any Guinea planes? He's now flying Emirate planes because of our human resource. We don't have money. Another example. We are also bringing in people with low qualification. Take University of Technology, for example. The pay package there, as my other member has said, they wanted to recruit the computer science people, they wanted to recruit 5 intellect lecturers from USA. But when they compared that to our pay package here, ours was much more lower. Why would they want to come and work here when they are paid much more out there? See for yourself. What do you turn down? More income or less? It's money. Who will want to turn down money? So yeah, instead of bringing those US people and those England people and others, they bring in what? Indians. That's because their pay package it's much more lower. And when they come here, our government is paying them more. And are they really qualified? That's the question you and I will have to ask ourselves. Who would want to sit in a lecture hall and have an Indian coming in and saying, "Good afternoon," and you are thinking he's saying, "Don't come after me," or something? We want people, qualified people. Unitech, we want qualified people so that there will be a good level of communication here. Unitech is also graduating more people, but as I have said, we want quality and not quantity. The level of communication is also very low. Speaking of that, take Ramon Nicol as another example. We have these Chinese people coming in, ready to work, but they're still learning English. How can we develop when our human resource and the level of communication is too low? So, we want our country to move forward and not to move backward. Therefore, I strongly believe, and I repeat, that human resource is not the only way, but it is one of the ways that can make Vision 2050 be achieved, but only with the other 6 pillars in place. But human resource itself is not, and I repeat, not the only key to achieving Vision 2050. Thank you.
Thank you. That was the final speaker of Lay Secondary School. For your information, we will not be taking any questions for these sessions. Yep, there's no questions, and there won't be any judges' remarks now until after the next 2 schools. Okay? So a round of applause to the 2 teams, the Bumayon Secondary School and Lay Secondary School. As they shake their hands and leave the stage, the Bumayon Secondary School participants were Azaria Kavi, Lynette Paul, Vanessa Sogiri, and Philip Ika. Thank you, Bumayon Secondary School. The Lay Secondary School participants were Christopher Miviri, Robert Irie Jr., Ruben Tangabi, and Daphne Anget. Thank you, Lay Secondary School.